When you lose 47 pounds in under 4 months like I have, people tend to notice. I always get the same 3 questions, usually in this order. First, are you on the shot? No, I'm not on the shot. Second is, are you healthy? Are you doing okay? Yes, I'm healthy, and I promise I'm healthier today than I was 3 months ago. And then finally, we get to, well, what diet are you on? Hey, I'm Mark, and thanks for watching my channel, Losing to Win, where this is my personal journey of losing 80 pounds in 2026. I weighed in yesterday at 235. I started at 282. I have lost a total of 47 pounds to date from January the 5th. So when I get to thinking about what diet am I on, I think, I'm not really on a diet. I am intentionally eating. And the closest way that I can equate to it, I guess, is like a bodybuilder. So I call it the bodybuilder diet. Let me explain. Now, obviously, I'm not a bodybuilder, but I have adopted the bodybuilder mindset when it comes to food. And, that's changed everything. When I think about people who are good at dieting, there's 2 people that come to mind. First are fighters. They're contracted to be at a certain place on a certain date at a certain time at a certain weight. And it's not the weight that they walk around at. So say they walk around at 200 and they contract to, fight at 170. And in the middle of this, they're training as hard as they can. And when they show up, they're going to be in peak physical performance and they're going to hit the scale and that's the weight you're going to be. Now that is a serious dieter. The other serious dieter is a bodybuilder. They eat for the sole purpose of putting on as much muscle and being as lean as they possibly can to win, whatever competition they enter. But, Mr. Olympia is obviously the biggest one. So when you watch these bodybuilders and they talk about their diet, they talk about, obviously they're eating a lot. So it's not like a lot of calorie restriction, but they're eating the right thing. Lots of protein. I've heard Ronnie Coleman talk about he eats up to 600 grams of protein a day, which is, crazy high. My target, I'll let you know a little later on in the video. They talk about getting up at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, just to, eat 4 chicken breasts and wash it down with some egg whites. I'm not taking it quite that seriously, but I have definitely adopted the mindset of eating for a specific goal. At the core of my bodybuilder diet, it's actually a macro diet. So what that means is it's based on hitting specific protein goals, fat goals, and carbohydrate goals. I'll share more about what mine is later on in the video. The biggest rule, and really the only restriction that I have in my diet, is no sugar. And that includes sugary drinks, it includes desserts, it includes juices, it includes cereal, anything like that. When I think of a bodybuilder's diet, I think of them building their diet around protein, which is, exactly what I'm doing, and I suggest you do too. The healthy protein sources that I use mainly is chicken. It's the most cost effective, but some other ones I enjoy: shrimp, salmon, steak, turkey. I don't say that I'm intermittent fasting because I'm not really strict enough on it on that angle, but I generally do wait till, at least noon to eat my lunch. And then lunch is going to consist of a cup or cup and a half of cottage cheese and maybe a cup of berries, the berry trifecta I call it, the blueberry, blackberry, strawberry. And then, I might come home and we're going to eat some chicken breast. We might make some tacos with some keto tortillas or something. Keto tortillas, keto bread, let me just drop a hint. They're loaded in fiber. That's how they get by. It has carbs, but then the carbs end up being fiber, and then the net carbs are way low, and you're getting lots of fiber. But just say it's chicken and broccoli or sweet potato. And then for a snack, I have Greek yogurt and the berry trifecta again. I would say a cup and a half of Greek yogurt and another cup of berries. And then sometimes through the day, I might snack on some jerky, I might snack on some pork rinds, but that's a pretty typical day for me. And then I try to stop eating, about 9 o'clock. And so from 9 till noon, that's kind of a window where I'm not eating. So if you call it intermittent fasting, whatever, but I'm definitely not that strict on it. I'm going to tell you a big mistake I see a lot of people make when they're dieting. They think that they're going to eat the same foods that they ate before, but they're just going to eat less of it. That's a mistake. You need to change what you're eating. You can't be eating mama's spaghetti or mama's lemon pound cake and you're just going to eat less of it. That's not going to work. You need to be eating, whole foods, simple foods, whole chicken, broccoli, cabbage, green beans, sweet potato, all these things that's not, a casserole type dish. You can't be eating the same things that you ate before to get you to where you're at and expect to lose weight. For example, I saw somebody the other day on YouTube kind of in the same situation as me, losing weight and documenting it. And they were talking about they didn't lose weight. And then they started listing the things that they ate that week. And they started talking about eating some salad and eating some homemade bread. And as soon as I heard that, I knew they weren't serious about their diet. People are not eating homemade bread if they're trying to lose weight. That's just not that possible. You have to take that completely off the table. You have to get out of the mindset of, I can just have a little bit, it's not going to kill me. Because I agree, it's not going to kill you, but it's also not going to contribute to any weight loss. So I said I'd tell you what my macros was later on in the video, and now we've got to that point. So my macros are roughly, and it's easy to remember, and that's not necessarily why I picked it, but it's 180 protein, 80 grams of fat, and 80 grams of carbs. And the way I kind of got to those is 180 to 200 grams of protein is 1 pound or a little less per pound, 1 gram or a little less per pound of my target body weight of 200. So, I shoot for 180 to 200 grams of protein, 80 grams of fat, 80 grams of carbs. I don't necessarily watch those as tight as I should or could, I guess. I really prioritize the protein and let the fats and carbohydrates just fall where they do. And, I just make sure I don't fall off the wagon with it, which is, loading up on a bunch of guacamole or cereal or something. So I guess when it comes down to it, and from now on, when somebody asks me what diet I'm on, I'm going to let them know it's the bodybuilder diet. I call it the bodybuilder diet. It's not about your size or how big you are. It's about eating for a purpose, having goals, hitting the goals, and losing weight. There's no more, just a little bit won't hurt me. So this is my journey. I'm down 47 pounds. I'm going to lose 80 pounds this year. And if you'd like to join me, please subscribe, follow along, see what goes on. If you have any suggestions, drop them in the comments. Thanks for watching.